Imposter syndrome is a topic that is very personal to me, and one that feels like a longtime friend and foe. Throughout my childhood and young adolescence, there were many things I wanted to be. I wanted to be a spy. I wanted to be a journalist, a filmmaker. I saw myself as an artist, but I also wanted to be a scientist. These broad range of interests turned me to pursue the study of many things, both personally and academically. I've acquired some interesting life experiences, though comparatively speaking, not the most interesting life either. Probably most notably is the fact that I did buy a one-way ticket after graduating from college to pursue the study of life and explore the world unknown to me. For 3 years, I traveled, worked odd jobs, and taught myself how to film, edit, while also learning things about affiliate income, SEO, graphic design, marketing, and more. In hindsight, I'm proud of myself, but at the time, it just felt like I was stumbling through lofty, long and short-term goals without a clear idea of what my passion or purpose might be, but I knew I was on the way of discovering it. Maybe you don't resonate with this, or maybe you are an artist or creator or entrepreneur yourself, just starting out on your adult life, or at least you feel that way. Or maybe you're a closet dreamer, living a steady life but secretly want to try something new or something old that you've nearly forgotten. It's a fact that we all know that we are more and more each day living in a gig economy. And it's also true that with internet platforms available to all of us today, a big door has opened for anyone hoping to make a niche for themselves in the vast sea of global connectedness. Of course, the barrier of entry has lowered, but this doesn't stop the doubt and fears that inevitably arise when we hear things like the market is saturated. This could apply to all the markets, whichever market that you're hoping to be in. But that's not the biggest barrier. While a healthy dose of self-doubt, I believe, is a worthy trait to keep, but if the doubts and fear paralyzes us from pursuing whatever path we desire, then it's time to reevaluate which parts of us to pass the microphone to. This is not a video teaching you how to succeed, because in a way, the end goal does not matter. Having imposter syndrome could mean that you will never start at all.
What's the thing you would have liked to know earlier in your career?
That's a really good question. I think the thing I'd like to have known early in my career is that no one knows what they're doing. I think I used to think, oh, when I grow up, I'll know what I'm doing. And because obviously everyone else seems to know what they're doing, but they don't. No one knows what they're doing. Even me, I don't know what I'm doing. But I do have things I know I like. It's going to go back to the same thing. So I think I would have found that comforting as a young musician to realize that it's not like you get to a level where you're like, all right, now I'm ready to start my thing. Like, when are you ready? I'm not ready. No one's ready, you know? You just have to get comfortable with going in and doing it. So I think that's actually quite an important point to make. If you wait until you feel like you're ready to start releasing music or writing songs or playing the ukulele or whatever, then you could wait forever. And I also think that some of the most qualified people make the least interesting stuff. So it's like a matter of just being like, you've already got all you need. You've already have everything you need to just start. Literally just go. And you don't have to get it right first time. If you want to share something to the world, go ahead, you know? There's always people who are going to be grateful for you sharing things in the world.
I know we've all heard the research studies and from wise words of philosophers past and modern. At the end of someone's life, most everyone regret what they didn't do. And I think this is because whatever paths we want to take but don't, we're left with the biggest question mark: what if? It's like an infinite amount of potential that never saw the light of day. And it doesn't even matter if at the end of the day the efforts were rewarded, because we'll never know. This is one of my life mottos that I've refined and I hope to live by. I wish to live my life in such a way that when I reach the 11th hour, I do not wish for a time machine. This is going to mean very different for different people. Fulfillment and satisfaction is going to look different from one person to the next. But I think there is an underlying desire to find out what could be, to know that you took the chance no matter how it panned out. That's a driving force that keeps us from looking back with regrets. Sometimes life goals change. Sometimes we ourselves change. Sometimes our passion and purpose mutate or modify or change, but there is always a thing or two that we wish to find out for ourselves that lives in us, which has echoed throughout our lives. And it might sound different and there might be different versions, but something you're hoping to discover. More often than not, we're halted by voices telling us we're not qualified to go that way or we haven't got what it takes. The fear of failure stops us from doing anything at all. Worst of those voices are the ones that come from ourselves, because we can shut out other people's voices, but if we cannot adjust our own perception, we have to live with it every single day. To start something is the hardest step of all. When we approach anything new, there is always a steep learning curve. We know nearly nothing, and there are vocabularies and systems and softwares and techniques that all look and sound like an actual foreign language. However, keep in mind that this is true for anyone who has ever approached any new thing. The world's encyclopedia now lives in our palms, but this, of course, doesn't solve all of our problems. At first, you won't know how to discern good information that is valuable from regurgitated pop, anything in a given field. But over time, we do get acquainted with the language and the systems, and we know where to seek continued education to further advance our craft. Maybe a part of getting over imposter syndrome is to focus on the process itself versus the outcome. Because the outcome is not something we have full control over, but the process is one that we get to choose. The fear of not having time or wasting our precious time to pursue something is also very real and legitimate. But we will never get to see how the story unfolds if the first word is never written. We cannot know if failure or success happens in this theoretical reality because it simply does not exist, and it will never exist unless we ourselves play an active role. Sometimes it's hard for me to make these videos because I have to generalize a lot of things so that it can be applied to a broader audience because I don't know your unique stories. Whatever the thing is you want to experience or pursue, and fear and doubt has held you back from taking that very first step, please remember that we cannot get better unless we actually do the thing. And we cannot find out if it is for us or not if we don't attempt it.
There is a wonderful old Italian joke about a poor man who goes to church every day and prays before the statue of a great saint, begging, "Dear saint, please, 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 let me win the lottery." Finally, the exasperated statue comes to life and looks down at the begging man and says, "My son, please, 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 buy a ticket."
Someone will always be more qualified than you, but this is especially true if you never start. No matter what field, there will always be those that we can learn from, and there will be those that can benefit from our teaching, creation, and ideas. And not only that, your unique lived experiences and perspectives will find its community if you're being honest to them and with yourself. And being honest about the things that you're eager to share, to create, and about the things in which you're still learning and refining. If you're an artist or creator, maybe you've heard of Rick Rubin's book, The Creative Act. The Beatles were inspired by American rock and roll, artists like Chuck Berry and the Shirelles. But when they played, it was different. It wasn't different because they wanted it to be so. It was different because they were different, and the world responded. There are countless examples of imitation turning into legitimate innovation. Having a romanticized vision of an artist, genre, or tradition may allow you to create something new because you see it from a different perspective than those closer to it. It's impossible to imitate another artist's point of view. We can only swim in the same waters. So feel free to copy the works that inspire you on the road to finding your own voice. It's a time-tested tradition. Be honest about your achievements, your gained wisdom, and your shortcomings. Mark the things that you would like to improve upon and accept the things that you don't yet know, but take the first step. Get clear on your reason for wanting to do this work or pursue this path. It doesn't have to be noble or even selfless, but it has to be honest and true. Practice giving that voice of your why more stage time than the voices of the doubts and the fears. It is also beautiful to make peace and feel gratitude for whichever path that we land on. But if we do not try, we're only left with a giant question mark. And if you sense that there is a spark, a curiosity to continue, a yearning to find out what would happen, the what if, then we have to do what it takes to get out of our own way. And imposter syndrome actually may always exist, no matter how qualified or expert you are with something. I think we can make peace with this too. Here's an incredible story that I heard from Neil Gaiman, the author who wrote many marvelous novels like Coraline, Stardust, American Gods, and more. Some years ago, I was lucky enough to be invited to a gathering of great and good people. Artists and scientists, writers and discoverers of things. And I felt that at any moment they would realize that I didn't qualify to be there among these people who had really done things. On my second or third night there, I was standing at the back of the hall while a musical entertainment happened. And I started talking to a very nice, polite, elderly gentleman about several things, including our shared first name. And then he pointed to the hall of people and said words to the effect of, I just look at all these people and I think, what the heck am I doing here? They've made amazing things. I just went where I was sent. And I said, yes, but you were the first man on the moon. I think that counts for something. And I felt a bit better, because if Neil Armstrong felt like an imposter, maybe everyone did. Maybe there weren't any grown-ups, only people who had worked hard and also got lucky and were slightly out of their depth. All of us doing the best job we could, which is all we can really hope for. I hope all of us find the profound courage to befriend our fears and doubts, to say, you can be here too, and I will still continue on this journey to find out where this path might lead. Thank you for being here. As always, please feel free to reach out and connect with me. I am planning to start offering one-on-one services and also create a community for all of us here. If this sounds like something that you're interested in, please feel free to join the Modern Pen Pal list, and that's where I'll share the news first. Until next time.